Welcome to the HU Movemakers podcast, where we highlight folks that are blazing the trail and making moves in Howard culture. Hello and welcome to the HU Movemaker podcast, where we highlight Howard folks that are trailblazing and making moves across all industries. Today, we got a special guest, an oldie but a goodie. I'm talking Made Magazine, investment banking, event management, brand management, social entrepreneurship, Fame Enterprises, Forbes magazine, the Made Maven herself. She's been drinking coffee since she was 8. Chicago French Press, Windy City Live, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Sorority Incorporated. Happy Founders Day.
Yes.
All the way from Memphis to Chicago. Kris Christian, welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. I mean, you're the hype man of the year.
Welcome to the show. We can end the interview. That was it. That's all you need to know.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Oh, for sure, man. So man, we go back a few years. You know, you earned some entrepreneurship stripes with me in them trenches. You know what I'm saying? Getting that respect of Chicago, and now, man, you giving Starbucks a run for their money. Look at you. So tell me, man, about this entrepreneurship journey. I mean, you started, investment banking, and then you go into parties / events / production / internet website development / coffee. Have we found a home yet?
Man, I mean, you're right. I've done it all. But, just starting, I went to Howard, obviously, and I was in the School of Business. And the School of B teaches you how to do it all and to be confident. And I think that skill set of just being able to show up and be great and excellent, and even when you didn't know what you were going to do or what you were going to say, being able to kind of hold your head up high and position yourself was something that really, resonated throughout everything I've done. So I started on Wall Street. School of B afforded that opportunity and learned everything that I could. And I only did that for about 2.5 years. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was out of the womb, like, I want to own my own business. I want to create my own legacy. And so business was kind of a conduit to do that. And I needed to learn before I just delved in. So I did Wall Street. And then my first business was Fame Enterprises, which was an integrated marketing communication agency. I was able to work with small businesses, big brands, and create multicultural campaigns that really resonated in our community. And I really focused and honed in on women, Black women, and millennials. And so while I was trying to get these big clients, BMWs and, McDonald's, I was throwing parties because I knew that I needed to build that community base. And we did parties together at Howard, and really being able to speak to the reach that I had so that I can say, not only, can I offer these amazing services, because I taught myself everything, just like, you have Photoshop, video editing. I literally taught myself everything because I just didn't have the money to hire people. And so then I extended that with events and built that community. And so once I started doing it for other clients that were, small brands, just ideas, and saw that I was helping them achieve, these amazing results, multi-million-dollar companies getting in Target, I was like, I definitely could do this for myself. Stop playing. And so I had the idea for coffee. Like you said, I was drinking coffee when I was 8 years old, instant coffee. And it was crazy to even think that you would let a child drink coffee like that. But my parents were a little on the wild side. And I would drink coffee, but it would be like coffee milk, like creamer, sugar, like a lot of people, just to make the stale taste be less bitter. And I remember being at Barclays Capital in the office coffee room. And I was like, I have an idea. What if I made coffee, created a line of products that you already had that flavorful taste?
How long ago was that?
This was like in 2011.
Okay.
And so I was
Because you
like,
started the business in what, 2014?
no, I started in 2017.
2017.
So
So you let that idea just sit in your head that long?
Yeah, because I was like,
wow.
You have this idea, you don't have the resources really to start a coffee company. I darn sure didn't have the experience or the knowledge or the expertise to be able to create something like that. So it was a good idea. And I knew that I needed to just really just figure out what the idea exactly was. But I was able to kind of test it out, especially in the e-commerce side with beauty brands and clients that I was working with at Fame. And so once I did that and saw like the online internet space, the e-commerce space was really a space where you had low overhead. I didn't need a brick and mortar. I saw all these benefits, and I saw how Facebook advertising and integrated marketing, stuff that I was already really good at, could really catapult that business. And so I started in 2017 with just online coffee only. So I focused on home brewing. People that were brewing coffee at home, just like me and my mom would do with instant coffee when I was 8. But, I only wanted to focus on home brewing. I wasn't competing against Starbucks or anybody else from a coffee shop perspective. I just wanted you to taste these amazing products that I created. And the flavors were super unique. I mean, coconut cream, chocolate blueberry, maple pecan, like stuff that I really, really wanted to taste. And they taste just like
who created these?
So I created them, but I worked with a roaster, a contract roaster, to help me develop.
That sounds expensive.
It wasn't. And that's what it sounded expensive, but because I was doing it at a very small level and doing it slowly but surely, the development process took probably like 3 years, but it was slow and small. And so I would, first I was just doing it in my kitchen just to kind of, the idea was, okay, if I could add like natural ingredients like nuts, like coconut shavings in my coffee beans, I could grind it all up in the taste already be there once it was brewed. So of course it was disgusting when I tasted it in my kitchen, but I knew I had an idea that if I took to somebody, they could make it work and taste better. And so over the 3 years, I really was able to, get it to where it really needed to be. And then packaging was my forte, like branding, marketing. That's something that I really excel in. It's just the visual aesthetics of everything. So that's where I spend a lot of time. And now we offer over 15 flavors. We're online, and we also have a brick and mortar in the Roosevelt collection in Chicago.
And that rent ain't cheap over there, is it? So, welcome to the Goldfish Village podcast. As a Chinese proverb says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. At Goldfish, our goal is to teach individuals just like you how to build wealth through real estate. So how's business going?
It's going great. I mean, I would tell you, despite COVID and just the economic environment that we're currently in, I'll tell you the first 2 years in business was really, really tough because everyone was asking, well, how am I supposed to taste the coffee? You don't have a coffee shop. And now, in COVID, people were forced to make their coffee at home. And so I was positioned earlier on for people to, through our subscription service, for people to try the coffee and really be advocates of the coffee, because they were able to, they didn't honestly have the opportunity to go to their local coffee shops because they were closed. And so, we really, last quarter was our best quarter. Like it was the best quarter we've ever done in business. So,
and most of those sales were from online.
Well, they were on, I would say 60% online and the rest was in person because we opened up the coffee shop in September. So, because of Black Lives Matter and this whole wave of supporting Black businesses, all of a sudden, we're on these industry lists on food networks. And I'm, taking advantage of it, getting all the press that I could, because as an entrepreneur, that's what you want. That's what you wish for. And it was bittersweet for me because I hated that it had to happen with that circumstance, that we had to literally watch a man die for the world to know what they should have been doing in the first place, and the thing is, George Floyd wasn't the first, he was, thousands and thousands of men have died just that same way. We just didn't have it on tape. So but that was the kind of pivotal moment that I think for me and a lot of Black-owned businesses felt, where the shift was like, okay, we have to change this. And from an economic perspective, we have to support Black businesses. And so that had a lot to do with our growth last year as well.
So, so when you were, in the beginning phases of doing the brick and mortar thing, did you have to did you fundraise? Did you use your own money? How did you go about doing that? Because building out a space is expensive.
Well, luckily, I tell you, COVID was a blessing and a curse, because in any entrepreneur, probably anywhere around the country, find retail spaces right now that are already built out that, you could take advantage of for a lower rent, because no one's in the space. And so we found a location that was already a coffee shop before. They left a few months before COVID.
Wow.
We really didn't need to do too much to the space. And for 2 years before, we were doing pop-ups. So we already had the equipment, the staff, and everything from an event perspective to move on a mobile basis. All we had to do was bring it into a standalone location. So, we're very similar, and I'm very resourceful. So I didn't have a lot of capital when we opened. I took what I had and made it work. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs have to do, really, is to take what you have and make it fit. And if it doesn't fit, then, utilize the resources that you have. But right now, honestly, resources are very scarce. So you got to do what you got to do to make it work. But for me, even getting the space, it kind of fell into my lap because I just reached out about something completely different to Roosevelt Collection. I had an event in Roosevelt Collection in January, a women's empowerment event for Made Maven. And little did I know that across the street was going to be the coffee shop, but I put a lot of time and effort and energy in the management, saw, my hustle, what I was trying to do, the connections that I had, and they reached out to me like, do you know anyone who has a coffee company? They didn't even know I had a coffee company.
Really?
And
wow, look at God. Look at God.
I see
look
you.
at God.
So, it was great to see that he had a plan that whole time that I had no idea about, but I needed to ask. I needed to, establish that connection. I couldn't just wait for it to fall in my lap either, so.
Yo, that's crazy, man. So, what would make you want to do a brick and mortar after the one before you just went out of business, though?
Because
that's crazy.
I knew that, you have to be crazy to be an entrepreneur. Like, you have to take this many risks for so long. I've been in business for 10 years and I've done a lot of crazy things. We've done a lot of crazy things. Like,
know,
what?
Right? Crazy, stupid.
But, yeah, but I really believe in Chicago French press. And I know that, the product speaks for itself. When people taste the coffee, it's like literally like crack. And I knew that we just needed to be in a place where people could go to it, on a consistent basis. And they were following us through the pop-ups, but you got to kind of be able to stand in one place and have a permanent location for people to really feel like, you're in the neighborhood. So I knew that the opportunity was something I need to take advantage of. And what I did, and a lot of people can do this, is it was a test. For the first 3 months that we were there, it was still a pop-up. It was a standalone pop-up for 3 months to see, for both of us, from management and from my perspective, if that was something that I wanted to pursue on a long-term basis. And we sold 10,000 cups in less than 3 months.
Damn.
And so just off of that
That's
data,
crazy. So I know that felt good.
Yeah, but I mean, much is given, much is required. So there's a lot that it took to get there. But from that, then we signed on an agreement to have a contract for longer, which honestly I haven't even had a chance to share the news that it is a permanent location now. But
damn, that's what's up. We gotta do a launch on the Howard Alumni Instagram.
Yeah,
we gotta do a full out launch. You know what I'm saying? So that everybody can support and we blow this thing out. That's dope.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Man, so man, I mean, this kind of happened. Like you weren't even looking for this opportunity, but at the same time, you was prepared for it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's crazy. I mean, what did it feel like? Well, how big is your shop?
It's small. I mean, and that was my idea in my business plan is I knew that this culture of sitting down and, having coffee with a friend, I didn't see the trend moving up that way. I saw more of the trend being a grab and go. People are more on the move. People are having Zoom calls. People are working from home. It's a digital world. So I always wanted Chicago French Press to be a destination where you would pick something up and go. And
how did you come up with that name? That name is crazy.
So, we roast in Chicago. So yeah. I knew that just paying homage to Chicago and, being a Black-owned business in Chicago was very important. But the French press method is a method that is the best. If anybody any coffee connoisseurs out there, but coming from instant coffee, I had never experienced the French press until I went to LA, and my friend Warren put me on the French press, and I'm like, "What? This is crazy."
So what's unique about the French press?
So it's very easy. It's literally just like instant coffee when you think about it, but it's a $20 piece of equipment that just has a filter and a glass. Okay. And you pour your coffee in there, hot water, and press it down for 4 minutes, and there's your coffee. And but it gives this aromatic taste. It's brings out all the flavor and makes a cup of coffee very full bodied. So you're really experiencing really good coffee when you do it, especially if you have the right coffee with the right grind. And so, I just put the two names together. It's in Roast in Chicago. My favorite method is French press. And then we came up with a really dope logo with a coffee bean in the middle of Chicago skyline. So it's super dope.
No, that's dope because, we got the bean already down.
Exactly.
Down there. So it's it only makes sense. So,
yeah.
I mean, how did it feel because you've been recognized and had some legit, success in terms of being recognized by media outlets from the Food Network to USA Today. I mean, Forbes. I mean, these aren't, local publications. How did it feel to be this little girl from Memphis with these big ideas, and now, you're getting this type of recognition?
Honestly, it feels, I don't even look at it like that. I just look at it like God is good and he is able and he will take, I look at the, when I was on the USA Today, the cover, of the money and life section, I'm like, God, what are you doing? That's a dream.
Yeah.
So I really try to stay humble in knowing that this is not me. This is a bigger vision, and God is using me to be an inspiration to other, especially Black women, the number one group of entrepreneurs that start businesthing.
Oh, speak on it. Speak on it. He's preaching. She's preaching.
I can do it there's nothing special about me that someone else doesn't have. It's just the fact that I executed on something and I moved forward with a vision that I was given. And so once you move forward and you put it out to the world, it's gonna attract attention, so it's just that fearlessness is what I think about. It's like, okay, go for it.
Man, you're right. You're right. That fearlessness, it'll get you in trouble though. It'll get you in trouble, man. I mean, what, why have you been so able to like kind of dominate in these spaces that, you're not from Chicago, so what you on my turf, but you dominating, you dominating in things that typically maybe women may not be seeing. We talk about doing parties, you talk about, and it's not like you came with a team, it was just you, and I remember one time, I forgot the name of that place where we was going. You asked me, like, yo, let's do a party here. And I was like, yo, that bar guarantee. I was like, no, I can't do that one.
Yeah.
And then you text me something like, well, I signed the contract already. Scared money don't make no money. I was like, well, shit, hey. I was like, I'll get a section. You know what I'm saying? I have my birthday there. And I want to say you like cashed out on that party, man. Where does that come from? I mean, is it something in Memphis? Is it your parents? Were they entrepreneurs? Where does that come from?
You know what it is, Josh?
You got a chip on your shoulder. What is it? What is it? Tell me.
I act like I move like a white man.
Uh-oh.
And I say that in the most like non-racist, like obviously I'm Black, but I move, you know how white men, they're so privileged that they literally can write an idea on paper, not have anything to back them behind it, and walk in a room like it is what it is.
You got to put that on a shirt.
Like,
put that on a shirt.
They literally can convince and raise funds. It's actually phenomenal.
Yeah, we know all these companies going bankrupt. They raise all these billions of dollars.
You're raising billions of dollars on a napkin.
Yeah.
On an idea for a napkin. And when I think about that, not that my ideas would be like that, but when I think about how they move and how people of privilege move, they're not moving based on anything real. They're moving on their confidence and their ability to execute on something. And some of them not even trying to execute on it. Yeah. So, when I think about ideas and events and things that are very risky, I act as if my environment and whatever is in my pocket at the moment or whoever I'm connected to doesn't exist. Like my friend, I'm thinking in my head, like Oprah's right here. Michelle Obama's right here. Like these people are a phone call away. And if I need the help, I have access to it. We have a network of alumni that if we really wanted anything, it's at our fingertips. So there really is nothing that you can't do. And I believe in myself. And I believe that if given the opportunity, all I need is opportunity. All I need is the venue. All I need is a space to create it. And, through my network or through the resources, I might not have the resources, but I know somebody that does, that I can execute a vision. And it's also, when you believe in a higher power, that it's really it's going to happen. If he did it once, he's going to do it again. He's not going to he's not going to just leave you out here in the wild without, giving you back what you put in. So I just really, my mindset is very determined, and I know I'm not going to fail. And if I do fail, it's okay. Like, it's fine. Like, okay, I'm going to do something else, and you're going to forget about that, and we're going to move on. Like, I'm really not afraid to lose. And we've lost before. Oh, we have lost. Not many times, but we have lost. And I know what that feels like. But every time you pick yourself back up. So I just move like I have the privilege of anyone else. Not that I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and I don't have this and I don't have that. What do I have? Whatever I actually have, maybe not be tangible, but it's something that I'm going to leverage in the conversation or in whatever it is that I am to make myself successful in it.
That's real talk, man. Let's talk about, I know you had you working in the financial services industry. You come out of Howard, I believe you had a really good paying job at that time, or no? I got it wrong?
Too good.
So you had a good job coming out of Howard, Me, I became an entrepreneur because I couldn't get a job coming out of Howard. So I was forced because of systematic oppressions and racism. But I couldn't. So for me, I developed kind of like, man, I had to create my own opportunity.
Yep.
You quit your job. You had the comfort of health insurance, nice, good ass salary.
Don't remind me.
And you bounced. What did that experience teach you? And walk me through that process of making that decision.
I was 22, and I will tell you, when I look back, I don't regret anything, but I didn't stay long enough. That money that I had, which was a good little penny, it was gone in a year, and so there could have been a lot of planning involved in just taking that leap. I was super confident to be 22. Girl, you need to work a few more years. You could just stay a little bit longer if you could. And so it was just the confidence that I had. And honestly, my parents are super duper supportive. Like, we support what you're doing. You always want to be an entrepreneur. And then I had friends that were entrepreneurs, and I was in like a community of people that were, that's what they were doing. And so I would say, at the time, I had like 5 clients for Fame that were paying me like $300 a month. Like, I was making nothing, but I thought that was enough to sustain and live my regular lifestyle. And so I would say, I'm glad I did it because it put me in a position where I had to learn. And, the biggest lesson that you can learn is when you broke. And so to go from, making 6 figures at 22 to making nothing, it was a big learning lesson that I needed to say, okay, you got to do things a little bit different. You have to plan a little bit better, and really take advantage of the resources. So if anybody has a great job and they're they want to pursue full-time entrepreneurship, you do not have to quit your job.
Yeah, especially now with technology. Everything is at your fingertips, and you can outsource so much stuff too.
You can outsource, like, not until you absolutely need to leave because the demand is like so high where it just desperately calls you. Like, it's just not necessary. And I had the idea at that time where I was like, if I don't put 100% into it, it's not going to work. And 100% can look different. And that doesn't mean that you're not 100% committed. It just means that you're taking or leveraging, I would call it, structure and resources and mentors and community that you will not have on your own. I went from all of that resource to being isolated alone because I was like an early entrepreneur. No one was really, outside of my immediate friends, there wasn't a lot of like full-time entrepreneurs. So a lot of people couldn't relate to what I was doing at the time. And so then I started hustling and having events, and that's when I had to pivot a little bit from my original idea. But
the pivot. The pivot.
It was just the greatest thing to do, to quit your job from Wall Street to become a full-time entrepreneur without a clear plan and plan of action on how you're going to literally achieve that exact same amount with the same benefits and everything else. If you can't make that equivalent move, then just wait it out.
Man, so nobody tried to talk you out of that? What were you at work? Like, did you find yourself at work doing other work that you probably shouldn't have been doing? Was that
Yes.
happening?
I mean, the crazy thing is, I started my first company when I was a senior in college on Howard's campus. It was a jewelry company called Couture by Kristen. And it was like when e-commerce first started. And so that was going to be Couture by Kristen was going to be my first client for Fame, because I felt like if I could do my own portfolio, do my own website, create my own marketing commercials and campaigns, that I could then attract other clients, which is still a great strategy, that I could attract more clients that then would see my work and see my website and see my videos and hire me to do theirs, which is exactly what I did. So I was doing Couture by Kristen, buying stuff. On my lunch break, I would go to like showrooms and order things for my site and build it on Wix and all this stuff in my downtime when I was working there. And so, I was definitely doing things I shouldn't have been doing, and I wouldn't, I don't want to encourage people to take resources from their company, because now as a business owner, if I catch y'all on a computer doing something,
That's real. That's
oh,
real
my
talk.
dad. But it gave me the space, having those long hours. It really gave me the space and time to be able to do some stuff on my own to see if that's what I wanted to do. And I ended up, shutting down Couture by Kristen and only focusing on Fame, but it definitely helped me get that experience from a small business perspective to be able to consult other people.
Yeah, I didn't know about the jewelry business.
Yeah.
Um, one of the mistakes, man, that I think people make, and maybe we got something to do with it, but is making entrepreneurship seem like it's easy, or that it's you had this life of balance and full control, and you got these unlimited vacation days and these unlimited tax write-offs, and just hire somebody to do it,
Yeah.
that it's and I say that because it's a lot of financial literacy that goes into being an entrepreneur, but it's even more so than that, man. It's the feelings of like loneliness, because it's like, to be a good entrepreneur, you have to fail.
Yep.
There is no like, you just do good. You have to like fail, and then be like, okay, do I want to keep doing this? And
Yep.
then you like win, and then you fail, and failure can come in many forms. It could come in financial failure, and it's weird because we've done events where we might not make money, but hey, we got 2,000 RSVPs. So
Yep.
how do you qualify? What I'm saying, is that necessarily a loss? Because it's value in
Value.
that, but to somebody else, if that's a loss. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me about some failures. And when I say failures, I mean, obviously you've bounced back, but some aha moments, I guess you could say, or some things you've learned from in your journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's no failure that I've gone through that was not valuable for me. And like you said, even when we failed that one time with that one event, that was honestly, that was my biggest failure. That was my biggest failure, because, money is something that you need and you're banking on. So we thought the event was going to do really well, and to the public eye, it did do well. And we had a lot of great things happening, but financially it didn't equate to that. But the value is not only like in the RSVPs, but it's what you're learning from. What I know is, like, I have a certain way of doing things that I know that work. And when I sway from those things, that's when it starts to, you know, not go in my favor. And so one of the biggest things I've really learned is like going with your gut and what you know, no matter who is involved, no matter what people are saying. And you know better than anybody knows. Like, your brand better, your community better, what they want, because they typically reflect who you are. So would I go to that event? Would I do that? Would I wear that? Would I would I respond to that on social media? If it's a no for me. And I'm not doing nothing that's inauthentic to who I am. And like, for instance, for events, there have been so many events where people have been like, oh, you want to do this event? And it'll be at a place that I wouldn't probably go to on the weekends. I'm like, no, it could make all the money in the world and the projections look like that was going to hit, but it's not always about money. Mm-hmm. It's about, investing in the value of your brand. And so for me, a lot of my mistakes, I would say, and even to the public, would be financially, because I would spend money on things that people might not think is, the most important, i.e. packaging. My packaging is very, very expensive. But my packaging for Chicago French Press is, to me, one of the reasons why we stand out amongst the crowd and why buyers from big box stores come reach out to us, because that's the first thing they say is, I love your packaging. It's so great. Like, this could be next to XYZ brand. And so
it's almost like a luxury brand.
You said what?
So it's like a luxury brand,
Yeah.
And when you think about it, like Fendi and whoever, they use the same leather as somebody else, but the way it's presented,
presentation.
Yeah.
And I will spend money before I make money, because I know that investment is about what people perceive it as, and what I would buy is something that looks nice, something that is high quality, and I'm not going to lower that because I can make more money selling this if the bags were a penny. Well, would I buy it though? I'm not buying that. So if I'm not going to buy it, and my target audience literally is who I am and has my story, they're not going to buy it either. And so that's the biggest thing, is like, I don't mind investing in myself and spending time and energy on quality. And that might mean me not, it might mean not having a 5-course meal, 1 weekend. It might be eating some tuna.
Oh, gotta sacrifice the 5 courses.
Gotta sacrifice. I will sacrifice before I put something crazy out there.
Man, spaghetti, fettuccine, and veal. Sacrifice it, huh?
Too many.
So, okay. That's interesting. I think I remember your boiling point with parties. I think it was that boat ride. I think that boat ride took a lot of energy out of us. I think we grossed like $70,000 and walked away with like $600 a piece. Really? And I think that people, and it's good to have those aha moments, because you like, man, this is not worth my time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is not worth my time. It was cool,
It's been a lot of that.
It's not worth my time. And I think when you can get to that point, of self-reflection and not repeating them same mistakes twice, because then it makes it easier when somebody does reach out to you and say, hey, let's do this event. You like,
nah, I'm straight.
Like, do you got a sponsor? No, I can't do that one.
I ain't gonna be able to do it.
I can't do that one. But hey, I remember this is a good one though. Remember I think we was like searching for like a venue for homecoming. And then I found that hole in the wall spot remember that lady named Mo or something like that? We had that spot. It held like Layla Lounge, I think. It held like 600 people. And that shit was a blessing, because I needed that. I needed that money.
But she was crazy.
Yeah, she was. But I remember, it's things like that can lead you down a trap of like, oh, well, I'm gonna keep doing this. That was
quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And I've always been, and that's why I feel like we work so well together, because we balance each other out.
Yeah.
On that, like, we can't do anything, but you're like, well, we still have to make money. And I'm not about making money. I'm always about creating experience. So it's just like, but that can actually hurt you a lot if you're only thinking about giving this great experience, and then you look up and like, damn, I only made $100. Like,
Yeah.
all that experience. So yeah, it's a balance for sure.
How has it been, because usually entrepreneurs, I mean, mostly, I know you said that Black women are like leading the way when it comes to entrepreneurship.
You know,
And sometimes a side effect of that is loneliness. It could be this angry Black woman, or
pressure.
hard to be in a relationship, because you may not have the time. Um, how have those stigmas, or some of them may be realities, how have they impacted you?
Yeah, I mean, it is a very lonely road as a Black woman, because there's a lot that we have to deal with. And it even just the idea that you're not, you know, the world tells you that you're not good enough. And so being an entrepreneur, literally, you have to convince yourself that you are good enough. And so it's this daily struggle that you're trying to convince people what you know and combat the social, reality of what people you seeing on television that's constantly reiterating that fact. So mentally, or not even the fact, it's the opinion. But so, mentally that can get really draining, and that starts to affect how you show up. And so for me, it's been extremely important to pour into myself and to establish that self-care, and to get away and to travel when I could, and to, be able to write and journal, and, have my little routines where I can get myself in a mental space to be positive. Because you can stay in a negative space, and what that does is not only affects your relationships, but it affects your business. And a lot of times your business is not growing because you got attitude, because and you have attitude for all the right reasons, but it's being able to get away from the reactional, way that you're entering life, and saying, I'm beyond this, I'm beyond how I feel, and moving forward. And so really for me, I have always been a very optimistic person, and very joyous and happy and upbeat. And so I've been able to kind of garner that within myself, so that I could show up for my friends, show up for my family, even when I wasn't feeling my best. And, I met my husband, Derek, at the worst time in entrepreneurship. Literally, I'm like, I give it to you, because I'm like, I would not date me at that time. I was, negative, and he met me in a space where he saw past that, and being able to find people that can give you that grace, I think is important as well. But it takes a lot of inner work, and that inner work is, like, to me, like I always tell people, is personal development goes hand in hand with professional development. If you are not personally happy or fulfilled or getting that joy, there is no way you can have a successful business, because you're showing up in these meetings and these conversations as angry. And so I think, especially since we have so much on our shoulders as Black women, we have to do double time to make sure that we're not coming across that way, to, and not only for other people, but for ourselves. We deserve to be happy and successful at the same time.
Preach. Welcome to the Goldfish Village podcast. As a Chinese proverb says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. At Goldfish, our goal is to teach individuals just like you how to build wealth through real estate. So, so you quit your job. You had these big dreams of being an entrepreneur. So you finally, you get to this point where your brand is popping, things are going right. How do you deal with the pressure of, it's a different pressure, like, of maintaining the brand? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that sometimes can be more stressful than when you're trying to make it. It's the maintenance of it. Cause sometimes, you might have a 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month, but guess what? Expenses is 50,000 too. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
that.
cause you want to constantly grow, or you You know, you say, hey, I could do coffee for Oprah or whoever. Now Oprah calling for coffee. You're like, oh shit. You know, like how do you deal with that type of pressure that maybe you putting on yourself or maybe you just establish a brand that sometimes then you know somebody may think is way bigger than what it is, you know?
That's a great question. And that's something I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through because as you grow and scale, more is required. You know, last year we entered 1,600 stores at TJ Maxx and Marshalls
Wow.
and across the country, and we've never been in a big box store before. And so it looked like, oh, you know, y'all popping, and we were, but people don't realize that's a net 90.
Yeah.
You don't get paid
Right.
90 days.
Every credit card is maxed out right now until I get paid from
Until
that.
I get paid. I just
Yeah.
got paid like 2 weeks ago. So it's like, I mean, how do you sustain while that is happening? And that's when, you know, for me, being somebody that I'm a hustler, just like you. So it's like, okay, what can I do in the meantime, in between time? Because I don't have a big investor. So what do I need to do to make up for that time? For us, it was the coffee shop because those were bags of coffee, but sips of coffee, the margins are way different.
Oh
So,
yeah.
okay, let me focus my attention here. Let's build a campaign. Let's get this PR push. Let's do what we need to do. And I think it's that determination of many streams, creating many streams and avenues. And I've always been that way. But especially now during COVID, it's like there is no other choice. Do you need to start doing classes? You know, the consultation. You know, do you need to, you know, have a virtual event? And so I would always have many things going so I wasn't so dependent on one source. But in terms of just mentally, it really has been my faith that has kept me through those times when it's like, I see the growth, I see these amazing things happening, but what is in my bank account is not reflective of what
It never is.
like this ain't adding up. Like I don't understand.
Exactly. Nah,
But
100%.
it's like, but I'm gonna do it again. And it's
Hmm.
just that constant faith-based just grounding that I have to, you know, sit in to know that it's gonna be taken care of. And not just saying, okay, thank you, Lord, it's happening, but putting a plan behind that and daring to do it and not just sitting around waiting on the money to come in. Okay, let's hustle. How do we get this? How do we make this shift? What do we need to do to pivot in the meantime to make it work?
Man, no, that's real talk, man. Real talk. You definitely dropping some jewels right there. So, as you start off as an entrepreneur, especially small business, you know, we wearing a million hats. You know, branding, you know, finance, accounting, creative accounting. You know what I mean? The whole nine yard. We got the info at. We got the sales at. We got oh yeah, send it to my assistant, which is really me. You know, we got
Right.
all of that. You know, how are you able to like trust people um with handling parts of your brand and your business? um how was that process for you
It,
as you scale?
yeah, it has really taken, I will say, like 9 whole years to get people that I feel like I trust with my brand. And it's also taken a lot of sacrifice as well. One person that, you know, God put in my life was when on a short trip to LA. And in that time, I met him, and he literally is now the store manager at Chicago French Press. And
Wow,
so,
amazing.
and so you have to be able to decipher and discern the right people by, you know, just intuition.
Mm.
Um, do they are they on the same page? What are their motives? Do they believe in what you're doing, or they're just trying to get a check? I can tell from a mile away if somebody just trying to get paid. And I don't want them on my team. I rather have someone that I have to teach and from scratch, and you don't know anything, with a good heart and a good mind, than somebody that is very, very confident and capable and qualified, that really is just trying to go after, all the good parts, but don't want to accept the bad parts. And I've had a lot of those people come in and out of fame, Chicago French Press, made over the years. And I've learned my lesson. I've learned oh, nope, you said that keyword. Nope, I'm good. I'll do it by myself until I find somebody.
Right. We quick to be like, no, do it myself. No, don't need you. No, don't need that.
But when I found those people, it was important for me to invest in them, just like I've invested in my company. I'm not going to pay you scraps. I'm going to pay you what you're worth. What would make you comfortable? What would make you happy? And really making sure that those people are happy and comfortable, because there is a lot of sacrifice with working with a small business. They have to wear multiple hats, just like I have to wear multiple hats. So if you're good and happy, if you need 2 days off, you got it. Because it's hard to come by people that really care and want to see you grow, and that are in it to win it, for the long run. And I make sure that commitment is stated. What are your intentions with this company? Are you here for just, the season, or do you really want to grow with us? And does that need to involve equity? What does that look like? Not that I'm just throwing around equity, but with the right people, you have to give a little bit. And so I'm willing to sacrifice some of those things for the right people in the room.
For sure. Let's talk about Howard. What made you choose Howard?
HU. I chose Howard because Howard had the best school of business. That's why I chose. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be in business. And I knew I wanted to be at HBCU. So HBCU was no question that I was going to go to HBCU. My brother went to Morehouse. My sister went to Clark Atlanta. And so naturally for me, it was top, 3 choices of, I wanted to go to the best Black school there was. My grandparents, my dad's from DC. So I had always gone back and forth to DC.
Oh, okay.
Saw the city. And I just was like, I want to go to the best. And the best was Howard. And so when I was at Howard, I really took advantage of a lot of the resources. I was a RA. I was in the School of Business. I was a team leader.
Wow.
I was in the honors program. I was actually team leader.
So you had all the connect.
Look, I knew that I was not there to play, and I was not there to just socialize.
So you was focused. You had a plan when you got to Howard.
I had to get my groceries.
Oh man, Mr. Gray.
What I came there for. And so when I look back over the 4 years, I'm like, being at the honors program, I got to travel to Europe. Got my job on Wall Street. I really was focused when I was there. And I still was able to socialize and gain lifelong connections and do that. But that wasn't what I was there for. And in the community.
So when you got to Howard, when you, as a freshman, you was focused, you was thinking about what's next when you got there.
Oh yeah. Wow. I would say when I was a freshman, I was, freshman year is a little different. You got 1 semester to play. So I played for 1 semester because I really, wanted the Howard experience. But after that first semester, School of B was really my life.
What was your major?
Business management.
Oh, okay.
So I was campaigning, and I did it all. And so when I look back, I left nothing on the table at Howard. And you can see it even today. All my businesses, Howard alumni support me. The clients that I have at Fame, they're Howard, sorors, my line sisters. So it's there's nothing that I left there, and I don't think that I could have really gained that anywhere else but Howard.
What made you seek out to be an AKA?
Of course, I just loved what the organization stood for, but outside,
you 18, 19, you ain't thinking about what the organization stands for.
Of course I was. Service. What are you saying? But my sister is an AKA. My mom is an AKA.
Oh, wow.
And so, it was definitely a part of who I was at that point. But the pillars of the organization just resonated with me and who I was. It still does. So, it's just a network and a community of women that, they stand for excellence. And it's just in line with what I stand in. My personal mission as a person and a woman is really to serve. And that's what we're here for.
What was it like when you when you had your probate?
It was,
Was it like Beyonce moment? Was it?
It was, but it was what you dreamed of. Like, you're like, I'm at Howard, I'm on the yard, like I'm really doing this, like this is actually happening. I was just so excited. And, it was something that honestly was like, I had a blackout moment because I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. But it's something that's just it's no better feeling to be surrounded by your sisters and then to have everyone watching and just to feel the love and the support from the entire community. And not only just AKAs, but all of us, like everybody was just supporting that day. And it just felt really good to be loved and supported and to come out finally.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, because when I just remember being a freshman on Howard's campus and just seeing, you wake up one day, like, oh, all these women got pink and green. Like, what's going on? Because I really wasn't hip to like none of that. And of course, as a probate, it was like, no, I had no clue about Greek life at all.
Coming from Chicago? What?
Nothing. My mom told me, she was like, yo, you better not pledge nothing. She's like, you got 4 years to graduate. So I was like, all right, well, I won't be doing that, But that's my mom being a single mom and just wanted me to
focus.
Focus. So she was like, that's a waste of time. But I just remember Howard was just a whole different, type, level of everything. But yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. What advice, man, do you have for the 18-year-old Kristen that's coming to Howard right now and trying and has these big aspirations and wants to get the best of her Howard experience?
I would say, Howard really taught me the power of pursuit and to go for what you want. And whether that be to be an excellent student, to be involved organization-wide, and just to have the excellence that you need. And so for my freshman year, the biggest thing that I learned was, don't go to the grocery store and forget your groceries. Don't leave them on the checkout counter. You went through all of that stuff. You went to buy your milk, you bought your cheese, you bought your meat, you bought everything in the grocery store, and then you left it at the counter and walked out the door. And Harold Gray, one of our professors, professor that passed away, told us like the first day about that. And that stuck with me forever because, obviously the young Kristen, the young 18-year-old, you have the talents. If you were at Howard, you were chosen for a reason. You're at the table. So don't even question why you're here or if you're good enough. You're here because you were chosen to be here. And there were requirements to get to where you are. But when you're here, make sure that you're taking advantage of every single opportunity because especially now, Howard is on the map. Like with Kamala.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Could you imagine if Mr. Gray was still alive today? Man, I mean, that dude was, whatever they was paying him wasn't enough.
It stayed with me and everybody else that heard him say that.
Yeah.
And, I think it's so important. It's such a life lesson that sometimes we get caught up in, oh, this is the Howard experience and this is homecoming and this is exciting. These are my friends. And it's like, but we're here to gain resources that we were not afforded at one point in history. Mm-hmm. And so don't forget that, yeah, you cute, yeah, you popping, but there is a reason in just the season that you're here, and it will be gone just like that. And so I'm able to talk about all of the things that I gained because I was super duper focused when I was there. And you can have it all. You don't have to choose one. You know, I was very active in several different organizations. I did have to choose when I did certain things. I couldn't do it all at once. And, you know, sometimes look back like, dang, what if I did this earlier? What, you know, but it happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen and in the order that it was supposed to go. So making sure that, you know, you're asking questions. You don't know everything. The know-it-all knows nothing. A lot of times in college, you think you know everything. Like I was very close with my professors and they advised me on things and told me where to go. And, you know, be a learner and a student of the game and a student of life and take advantage of the opportunities and the resources that are there.
That's real talk. I mean, you know, it was a learning experience, but you know, I have people come on the show, man, and I'm always amazed at when people talk about how when they got to Howard, they understood what Alpha Chapter, AKA, meant. Like to me, that didn't dawn on me till like maybe 10 years ago. I was like, oh damn, Howard. All these organizations started at Howard, you know, like I didn't really understand Howard's place in history. You know, I didn't understand none of that, you know, until it took a while. But people were focused, man. And that's a credit to, you know, the environments that they come from. So with Chicago French Press, I mean, if somebody wants to order, and place orders, subscribe and all of that, how do they do that?
So you just go to chicagofrenchpress.com and everything is there. Our store is in the Roosevelt Collection if you're in Chicago. So it's in the South Loop, 1021 South Delano Street. And yeah, I mean, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook at Chicago French Press.
Dope,
but we really appreciate the support from the community so far. It's really been just amazing. And we couldn't do it without supporters and alumni and just people from HBCUs, period. People come in there like, I'm by tomorrow. Like,
are you open tomorrow? Are you open tomorrow?
We're open every day.
I'm coming by tomorrow. I'm gonna come through tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. So 100 years from now, what are they saying about Kris Christian?
100 years from now, I want people to say that I lived a life of service, it's inspiring other people in the generation behind me to go for it, to dare, to do, and to just build out their wildest dreams. I just want to be an example for other people that they can do something beyond even what I was able to accomplish while I was here.
That's real, man. Kris Christian, man, boss, man. Thanks for coming on the show. You've been a great guest today. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Josh.
Taking time, man. Straight up boss.
Twins.
That's right.
Let's shout out the girl from Etsy.
Well, she made me pay for mine, so I ain't shutting. I'm just playing. What's her name?
Find her on Etsy. It's like
wait, no. You know what? She sent me this, and she sent me a all blue one that says Howard too.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I got a mask, so I really want to just type in HU.
I know you're talking about. No, I share her stuff on Instagram all the time.
Yeah, share her. She's amazing, and I really like
dope.
the creative
She's dope.
shirt she has. So.
Yeah, we gotta support the entrepreneurs. Thank you for joining the HU Movemaker podcast, where we highlight folks that have contributed to the Howard legacy at the highest levels. To hear more interviews or purchase merchandise, please visit www.humovemakers.com.